All right, and we are live. So good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday to everyone out there in the universe, in the world, in your part of the world, wherever you might be. I want to welcome you to the Coffee with Rhonda show, where we are a group of leaders and entrepreneurs, and we talk about the day-to-day successes.
And we are live. So good morning. Happy Saturday to everyone out
talking
there
to
in the
me.
universe,
Hold on.
something wherever you might be.
So, if can everybody
you to the Coffee with Rhonda show, where we are a group of leaders and entrepreneurs, and we talk about
we have background coming in from somewhere.
So good morning.
Everybody.
Saturday to everyone out there in the universe, world.
Well, that was quite interesting.
You're back?
All right. I think I got everybody back. So, woosah. Let's start again. That was wild. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Coffee with Rhonda show, where we are leaders and entrepreneurs, and we like to talk about the day-to-day successes and challenges in building a successful life and career. So before we introduce the rest of our co-hosts and guests, a few housekeeping items for you out there. If you're out there, tell us your name, tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to tell us what's in your cup. We want you to be sure that you like the video, share it out, but most importantly, we want you to comment on anything that resonates with you. If you hear something or if you're just enjoying the show, please make a comment so that we can have a conversation with you also. Ask any questions that you might have on any topics as we go through the show, and we'd like to try to answer those for you as well. And we want you to be sure that you visit coffeewithrhondashow.com. Subscribe, as over the course of a period of months, we will be moving to YouTube as our primary platform. So with all of that said and all of that aside, let's go ahead and get into our introduction so that we can start this topic for today, which I think is going to be pretty amazing. So my name is Rhonda Y. Williams, and I am the host for the show. I'm an emotional intelligence strategist and leadership coach, helping leaders and organizations shift from stuck to unstuck, from frustrated to focused, so that they can successfully achieve the goals that they set out to achieve. Now, I have today in my cup, this is my little Cabo cup. It makes me feel all springy. You see how colorful it is. And I have regular dark roasted or French roast coffee today in my cup. So remember that what's in your cup is both physically what's in your cup, but it also is meant to be metaphorical. As you think about your life and what you have in front of you, what is in your cup? What's in your hand? What's in your life that you can utilize to grow, to build, and all of those wonderful things? So as we move forward, let's go ahead and get into our introductions. And we're going to start this morning with our guest, and then Roz will come to you, and then Marae will come to you also. So we have a guest with us this morning, Miss Tracy Ready. Good morning, Tracy. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you, and then tell us what you have in your cup.
Okay, well, I am Tracy Ready, therapist turned dating strategist. I help single, career-driven women, I guess, like you said, get focused in the area of love and dating. Actually, I like to call what I do dating preparation. A lot of times we jump out into the dating world without really preparing. So I try to get people prepared so they can have better success in love. And in my cup this morning, this is my wifey cup. This was a wedding gift, actually, and it's one of my favorite cups. It's oversized, and today I'm drinking water.
Awesome, Tracy. Thank you so much for being here. And let me tell you, you got your work cut out for me because I think I'm the only single one on the panel. So
Okay.
if you can fix me up and get me going, I will be much appreciated. So,
All right.
so welcome to the show. Miss Roz, good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? I am Roz Jones, bringing you greetings from the sunny state of Florida in the city of Jacksonville. I am the CEO and owner of Jacksonville's Best Caregivers, where we provide 4 levels of care: sitter, homemaker, companion, home health aide, and certified nursing assistant. When you can't do it all, you give us a call.
Absolutely. I think I walk around sometimes singing that. When you can't do it all, give Roz a call. Awesome. And what you got in your cup, Miss Roz?
I have my peppermint tea with honey, and I also have a bottle of water.
Awesome.
And I'm still waiting on my shirt.
Y'all notice I didn't wear the Coffee with Rhonda shirt today because Roz was giving me the side eye. So I was like, okay, let's just put that away. All right. So good morning to you, Marae.
It's actually good evening for me. And good morning to you, ladies. This is Mireille Aka, the greatest engineer from Perth. I'm actually always, happy to be here on Saturday and to have our party and our virtual coffee with Rhonda. I'm a coach as well, but with a background in engineering. And as a coach, I founded the Mirai Telekima Global Leadership Organization, where we help people and organizations to become the best that they can be, to take control of their success, and to actually, become self-actualized. And, it's been a wonderful journey, and I really enjoy sharing my knowledge on this platform.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have all of you here this morning because, this is an important conversation for us this morning. So for those of you out there that may be just tuning in, again, you're watching the Coffee with Rhonda show, and today's conversation is going to be on romance, dating, and the career or businesswoman or entrepreneur. And so, the big conversation for us is to figure out, number one, so I was trying to figure out some wording for the post. And one of the posts I put up there is, I think I put it on the screen. I put it on the screen for us. So y'all are going to think I'm a little bit strange, but here's my question, right? So is your love life flame like a little bit lighter, or is it a raging forest fire, right? So as you are creating this amazing life that you want in your career, in your business, then what's going on at home? What's going on behind the scenes and behind closed doors? So for me personally, I'm single, and I think I'm the only single one on the panel. Is that right? Right? No? That's not right? Raj, you're single also? All right. Come on, Raj, let's get it. We need to get a forest fire going. So, I don't want no little big lighter. So, but what's been interesting for me, I've been single for quite a while. I was married years ago for more than 25 years. And I've been single now for, I'm not even going to say how many years because that's a little scary. I can't even believe I've been single that long. But what I have found is that while I'm single, I'm so busy and I've filled my life. I have filled my life with a wonderful, amazing things that I do. And so the question for me, and I'm going to toss this out there to you ladies, and we're just going to toss some things out there and do this a little bit differently than we normally do. Yes.
You didn't introduce our guest, Miss Rhonda.
I did.
No.
I didn't. She introduced herself.
She did. Yeah, she did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was the first, actually.
Yeah, she went first, Roz. But that's okay. Keep me on task because sometimes I'm not on task.
Are you sure you're drinking tea here?
I think Roz got a little nervous about the conversation we're having today here. Wait, so what I found is that because I have been single and I am single, I have filled my life with wonderful, amazing things that I do. So I am never bored. I am never lonely. I've got all of these things to do. And so the question for me now and what I look at is, do I have space? Have I created space? How will I create space when I find this special Prince Charming who's going to come rushing in on this big, beautiful white horse, right? At some point, I'm believing that he's coming. But how will I have the space in my life and create the space to do that? And so, let's just have a conversation around that, because I don't know if it's just me because I'm single and I don't have, I just do stuff all the time. But I'll be interested in hearing if you were the same way. Do you just have space for this person to come and fit into? Or are you going to need to rearrange your life so that there is space? And then, Marae, the question for you, because you are married, is how you balance, because you've got a pretty active, amazing career. Like you said, the greatness engineer, you've got a global organization, and how do you have space? So I'm going to first toss it to Miss Tracy, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And then, Roz, I'm going to come to you and then to Marae to talk a little bit about how you do prepare, as Tracy said, and create space.
Yes. So I am working with tons of women for the past, directly in relation to dating for the past, since 2015. That's been my primary focus in the work that I do. Are y'all hearing any feedback?
I'm hearing a little feedback.
Okay, I'm not sure what, but I don't know what to do about it. But in working with women for the past 15 years in that way, yes, you have to be intentional. You have to make space. Today's modern day woman, like you said, has a lot of options as far as how she wants to feel her life, and it's amazing things that we do. But then we all reach that point, and I had to reach that point as well, where dating was no longer a kind of a wild card thing where you're doing your life and someone comes along, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's all right, and then you entertain him, and then that all blows up because there was no preparation. And I feel like with dating, a lot of times we do kind of play Russian roulette, even with how so many of us are very selective, and we're kind of picky or whatever. We think that's enough to land us with that guy, that magical guy that you said that rides in on the horse. But you have to prepare a stable for that horse. And be ready to receive that horse. And a part of my own experience too was a stage of preparation after I had gone through a ton of ups and downs. Then I finally met my husband after I was prepared, and things were completely different. So yes, I do believe that there has to be some intentional preparation, just like with anything else in life. But we're not taught that. We're taught to kind of just, love is gonna happen. You'll just know. Well, yeah, okay. How's that working for you?
I love that, Tracy, that, you said, so I want this horse, this guy to come in on this great white horse, right? But in order to do that, I've got to create that. I've got to prepare the stable, right? Where's the horse?
And the stable in your heart, in your life. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. I'll be working on that stable. So, Roz, for you, where you are, do you find that have you prepared yourself? Are you creating this space, or is this an intentional journey that you need to go on?
It's probably a journey I need to go on. I don't have nothing prepared. I'm not gonna lie. Not a thing.
I love her honesty.
I don't have anything prepared. The only thing I'm working on right now is me. I'm working on my health. I'm working on improving my relationship right now with God, because I can't give you nothing if like you said, my heart, my body, and everything else. Now, I don't want to come to you with, I'm sick, I'm overweight. Maybe that's my mindset. I don't know. But have I prepared my stable? No, I still got some hay in it and some poo-poo and everything else. So I'm still...
Oh my goodness. Wow. So Lisa is out there. She says, love this channel. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. You know, this is an important topic because I think we have to get honest with ourselves. So I joke a lot about what I need to do and what I'm going to need. My life is going to need to change when I meet that special someone. But I absolutely know. And then, hello there. Hi, thanks for tuning in. So I absolutely do know that there is preparation work involved. And when I get serious and I start having the conversation with myself, it's like, okay, Rhonda, you don't have space right now. And so I go through the thought process of what can I shift? What will need to move? Because right now my plate is full. And I know that in order to have this forest fire of a love life and relationships and just a really powerful connection with someone, I know that I'm going to need to do that. So Marae, you are married and you're not in this crazy dating world. So still you have to have and maintain a balance.
I mean, you know, like you said, I've been married now for almost 20 years, 25 years now. So it's kind of, you know, going back to when we started. I mean, I was not prepared. I was not prepared when we met, but you still have, you know, when the connection is done, you still have to prepare yourself to know where you're going. And because I look at it as a project, because, you know, you connect with somebody and you're starting to work as a team, and every project needs, you know, commitment. You need to make the time to work on your project, and that's what I've been doing. I mean, that's what we've been doing. We had the kids, but we always make sure that we surprise each other at some time, and we have our own time. Like every year we try to go, you know, alone together somewhere in a romantic place, just to keep this slide going, because it's not easy. It's not easy. You have to really commit. It's a big commitment, and as soon as, you know, you lose focus, then things start to not work really well. And I mean, there are ups and downs, obviously, especially for, you know, like you said, for me, I'm very busy, and I really don't want to give up my career as well. So I try to compartmentalize things, and the communication is a big one. Really be able to communicate, and to build this friendship, you know, with your husband, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to maintain everything. Because at the beginning you have all the craziness, the flame, and blah blah blah, but then you know, the friendship is what, you know, sustain you, and really have not really die into the routine.
Right.
Get the opportunity to create some excitement at some point, so that you can rekindle, you know, this this craziness, and and really, you know, go and be happy.
Well, I think that as you touched on a few really important things, one of the things that I want to tease this one out a little bit is the communication. So when you are at the place where you're either looking for someone or you're involved in a relationship, communication is critical. In fact, I don't know any place in life that communication is not critical, right? It really is the foundation for everything. And emotional intelligence, as an emotional intelligence strategist, one of the things that I find when I'm coaching my leaders is often place they're stumbling and struggling is with communication. And so we do a lot of work around communication. So let's talk about the two types of communication that I talk about with my clients, and see how this ties into us looking for love, really building that relationship, keeping that flame hot and fresh, is the internal communication that we have. So let's start there. When we're talking about communication, our internal communication is critical. So I find myself wondering, what am I saying to myself? What's the story I'm telling myself? And he says, the infamil. I hope I said that properly. I was trying to say his name. He says, the infamil says, I agree. Absolutely. So the communication that you have inside is what I like to say is, what's the story you're telling yourself? right? What's the story you're telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that you're worthy? Are you telling yourself that you're ready? Are you telling yourself that you're beautiful? Are you telling yourself that you deserve the very best and you don't need to settle? You don't need to, as Tracy say, play Russian roulette with these different guys. I know they say you got to kiss a lot of frogs, and I don't know what they say for the guys, but maybe they're still kissing frogs too. The guys that are single. But how do you manage your own internal communication so that you are in that place, like Ross says, that when you show up, you are full and you are not looking for someone to fill you up, right? Are you coming to the relationship complete and looking for something to enhance your life? Or are you looking for a relationship to be completed, right? There's an important distinction there. Either you're looking for someone to complete you, or you're coming there already complete. And now you have two complete people coming together to build something wonderful and amazing. So the question on the table as we do this round is, what should that communication be like, right? What should that internal communication be like in order to set yourself up to be able to have that forest fire of love? And Tracy, so let's come to you as you talk, and you've been working with business and career women looking for love. Do you find that the internal communication needs to be managed first?
Absolutely. That is what all my programs that I do, we start, a lot of times when I tell people I'm a dating strategist or whatever, they're thinking, oh, you're going to hook me up and send me out on dates. You're going to find me some guys to go out with. And it's like, no, that's not what we start at, hun. We got to bag it up a little bit, and we're going to have to go inside, and we do what I like to call the treasure hunt. And because I feel like there is a lot of valuable nuggets that we leave in the past when we've had our relationships, we've had, and growing up with our parents and all that good stuff is all treasure that we haven't looked at maybe as treasure. So I try to reframe the thinking of looking back, because it's a very scary thing to look back, for some people, and it could be a little bit overwhelming. So we just take a journey backwards to see what has informed what you tell yourself right now, and look for other ways to cope with those things. So yes, that internal communication piece is, you shouldn't be dating if you don't know what's playing on that record. You should not be dating if you're unaware. And a lot of times we're so independent, and we're so self-sufficient that we think, well, I know what I'm telling myself. I'm wonderful, I'm marvelous, all those types of things. It's like, yeah, on different fronts. But then when you insert a man into the equation, all those insecurities, all those doubts, all those concerns, they come rising back to the top. So and we don't want to think that the guys have that big of effect on us, but they do. They do. They will. You will be going along just fine and feeling like everything's okay, and then someone comes along, and now you're jealous, or now you're this or that, and you like, I didn't think that was an issue. I mean, that was an issue years ago in my relationship that I had 5 years ago, but I didn't think that was still. And we do work, we do assessments and all sorts of things to kind of dig that stuff up and bring it to light, because it's hiding in the corner like a boogeyman, and and when it's rubbed the wrong way, when that area, because think about it, when you're not dating, when you're like focused on career and everything, that space is just left untouched. That space that says a romantic partner occupying your heart, occupying your space, it's just untouched. And so we feel like it's okay since it's untouched, but it's not okay because it's untouched. It is just not touched. And then when someone comes along, it's like,
oh man,
it blows up, and that's when they come calling me.
What the vision that popped in my mind, Tracy, as you were talking, saying, you rub all of that stuff the wrong way and all this stuff comes out. I thought about Aladdin and the genie, right?
Yes.
I thought about that big lamp, and you rub that lamp, and you don't know what's going to pop out of that lamp. And I could see how that would be a very scary thing, because a lot of times we like to just walk away from the past and pretend it doesn't exist. Oh no, that was then. This is now, and I don't need to pay any attention to the past. Where I'm always looking for lessons, right? I'm always
Yes.
looking for, yes, that was the past, but what went really well? And where was my opportunity to do things a little bit better? When my marriage ended, and everyone said, well, it wasn't your fault. And I'm like, well, okay, it's not so much about fault,
Not
but
so
it
much
is
about
about
fault.
being reflective. It is
Right.
about being honest with yourself to say, where was my role and where was their role? And what are the lessons now I'm taking forward? Put those in your tool belt and then you can move forward. So Stephanie's out there. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining the show. She says, hi, everyone. And then he's laughing us out there. That Infamil is laughing. He said, LOL, because you know what? You do when you go deep and understand. Now, I'm not sure guys go this. We're going to have this show with some guys on it too. Because I'm interested to know when the guys are in the process of dating, do they really intentionally think through these things? Or do they just go like, hey, here's a girl. She looks good. She talks halfway okay. This will work. So I don't know that. Do you work with men too?
I will, but I it's not my specialty. I'm coming from a space of, I use my own experience as well as my training, formal training. And so I'm coming from the woman's perspective. But yes, I have worked with men in the past, but men don't typically, like you said, they don't typically come looking for that help, especially not from a professional. And I guess that's changing these days with guys getting into therapy more and that type of thing. But yeah, for the most part, in the guys that I've talked to, they're looking for somebody. Their idea of preparation is more on the external. A lot of the times, I want to make sure my money's right. I want to make sure I've got all these other factors, home or a car, whatever. My career is stable, and now I'm looking for a wife and maybe to start a family and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's not that guys, I don't think, care about the internal, because they very much experience it when the woman is healthy or unhealthy, but I don't think they always think about what they themselves bring to the table as needing to be
Fixed. Oh yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think they think of it as, oh, this is something I need to deal with. It's more like, with a lot, I'm not saying every guy, but a lot of guys come to the table with, here's who I am, and I'm going to find somebody who can deal with that, rather than maybe I should examine myself and see where I might maybe can do something different. So
that's a really important perspective, I think. And this is the men are from Mars, women are from Venus conversation, right? We are different. And we should not pretend that we're not. And heaven forbid we were the same. I don't want anybody that's exactly like me. Lord knows one of me is enough, right? And so, so Roz, when you're thinking about your internal communication, what do you think about that? Because we're in the phase of prepping ourselves, right? And getting ourselves ready to come to the table so that when we get there, we feel whole, complete. We've minimized those insecurities and those sorts of things. So what's your take on the whole internal communication?
I was thinking about what Tracy said, that a lot of times we take and we put it off to the side. Mine's probably in a storage unit somewhere. Yeah, it's in a 10 by 10 with a padlock on it. Okay.
see?
But we have to look at internal, and with me being so new into this, I've had plenty of time to do assessments, and I had to look at me and say, okay, what was the common factor in my actions that that I need to change? Was it my health? Was it my behavior? Was it the way I talk to someone? So, I have to look at that, and I have to address each one individually. I can't throw it all in one bucket and, and hope that, it's one size fits all. We have one, each issue has to be dealt with separately. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I'm taking care of health first, and then, and spiritually and my heart. And then, some things externally will also take care because of the internal piece that we take care of first. Mm-hmm. So, what has been planted, let's say what was good for my parents 30, 40, 50 years ago may not be what is needed for me in my relationship now, because, you know, you go by example. And don't get me wrong, some of the things in their marriage is good, you know, and good examples. But, you know, some of the things that, you know, women used to do back then, you know, we don't do now, you know. And so, you know, we have to look at what, you know, what is going on right now. You know, what do I need now? You know, what is the change now? So I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, self-changing, and I'm still paying on that storage unit.
Oh my goodness. And I wonder if you open up that storage unit, or you might be a little scared to open it up soon. You don't know what might pop out at you, right? So it's interesting. So Marae, as we talked about the internal communication, I want you to share a little bit of your perspective, because many people think that, well, once you get married, then it's done. So you don't really need to worry about that internal communication security. For what? He's already married you. You got a ring on it already, right? And so what do you
it's actually more work, you know, when you get married, because you now have all the stress of making it work. So you really need to know, you know, how to communicate, get to know your partner, and understand, you know, how you can, you know, speak the same language and go in the same direction. And that's a day-to-day, you know, that's a day-to-day issue. You know, you can't just sit down and say, okay, I'm married now, I can just sit down and, you know, do what I want. No, that's not the way. It's you have to work for like everything. You have to work to make it work, to make it a success. And really involve your partner, because that's what it is. Get the feedback, because you need this feedback. You're not perfect. You go into it not being perfect, and there are things that you're gonna have, you know, that you're gonna do well. Other things you're gonna completely, you know, have it wrong. And get the feedback and sit down, talk about it, to see how you can readjust yourself for the relationship to go in the direction that you want to bring it. Because otherwise, you know, you start to grow apart, and things, you know, what's happening, it's a breakup. And that's that's the danger. But one thing that I wanted to really stress out here is, especially when you go into you are at the dating stage, is really be yourself. Show yourself as you are, with, you know, the good and the bad, so that the person that you date knows already who you are. Because I think, talking about my own experience, before I actually dated my husband, I always wanted to have like the perfect man, so look perfect as well. And it never worked. But that, you know, when I started to really relax and say, okay, this is who I am. I am not perfect. I'm Mireille. Some people are going to like me. Some other people are not going to like me. I'll see who's going to like me the way I am. And then that's when things started to work, because I didn't have to think about, oh, I should do this way to please this person. No, I just came as I was. And if I got it wrong, my husband just flagged it to me. And then we work on, you know, how we can fix it, if it's fixable, or if he can manage it. And then we'll just move forward.
so
And that's the key, is that none of us we're not perfect into this thing, you know. We're not perfect. We just have to navigate with our imperfection in the right direction together.
So I love that, Marae, that you said that, right? Did you want to add something, Tracy?
Yes, absolutely. I had written in my notes, because I was just writing notes as we go. And I just wrote down a few minutes ago, not looking for perfection. So when we talk about preparation, we're not talking about getting to this point of, hi, I am absolutely perfect. All my issues are gone, you know, and I'm able to, you know, be with any man that there is. No, we're not looking for perfection. What we're really looking for is self-awareness. And we're really looking for understanding what your baggage is, how your baggage affects you. Like you said, not to be a perfect person, because I heard a preacher say years ago, way before I got married, way before I even got into what I'm doing, he said marriage is a healing relationship. So you are going to come into your marriage with some things that will still pop up and show up. And as you're growing and changing and learning new things about yourself as a partner and as an individual, um, there's always going to be something that can be adjusted, that can grow. You know, all adjustment and change isn't bad. So we're not looking for perfection when you're dating, just preparation. It's a different thing. Like she said, Rod said she got her baggage or whatever over in the storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it will be a surprise when she goes in there and sees what's in there. But if you can go and examine that baggage, take some really intentional time to look through that and really understand it and how you show up in this dating world, then that makes the transition into partnership with someone way easier, way much easier, very much easier.
That's pretty powerful because there's a couple of things. So, as an emotional intelligence coach, one of the things that I do oftentimes is we start with self-awareness, right? It is the foundational place to build anything from. If you don't understand yourself, then you're likely not understanding others around you. They're not understanding you. And there's a whole lot of dynamics that happen when you're not understanding yourself. But that takes me to the other point that Murray raised, which is Murray said, be yourself, right? Come into this relationship and be yourself. But do you know who yourself is? Because it's really interesting to me that the person that I am today is not the person that I was when I was married. In fact, my ex almost doesn't even recognize me, right? He said to me some years after, and I started really doing all this other stuff, he said, was I holding you back?
Wow.
Because I became a completely different person. I think I really started to open up and embrace more of who I was and start to understand what makes me tick, what makes me happy. And so now I'm at a place where I really feel like I get who I am. There are some days where you still have some questions, right? Because it's an evolution. It's a journey and not a destination. So I know that I'm still evolving, and the person that I am today may not be who I end up being in 10 years. I'm sure there will be some semblance of that, but I'm still going to grow. So understanding who you are today and what you might need from a relationship today is, I think, a really important thing for all of us to examine as we're on this journey, either in the dating lane. So I think of it as a couple lanes, right? We're either in the dating lane, not the fast lane, but the dating lane. Because, I don't want to be in the fast
like that.
I'm too old for that. So I'm in the dating lane, or you're in that marriage lane.
And you're bringing a good point here is that, even, when you are in your relationship, I mean, you are evolving as a person because of the impact of your partner or whatever you're living as well. So, and that's where the communication is very important, because you have to communicate to your partner that I'm changing as well. These are my dreams, these are my goals, and we should focus our relationship to include that as well, and see how we can stay connected. Because sometimes what's happening is that we stay silent, we change, but we stay silent, and we reach a point where we don't understand each other anymore, and that's when we just have to split at some point. So that's a very key point to understand as well, even at the dating stage, but as well in your relationship, that things are dynamic, it's not static, and you have to review things on a day-to-day, I would say very frequently. And that's why we made a commitment to take this time, to be alone, at some point during the year, or somewhere where we don't have the kids, we don't have anybody, to really think about our relationship and see how we are going, reassess, and then move things forward, and knowing that what each one of us really want from this relationship.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. Ross?
I was going back to what Mariah said about managing and fixing. You know, I know I might have to go in the storage unit. I know I might have to go in there and look. It's not a problem. Trust me. But, you know, was I putting it there hoping that I would never have to worry about it or never have to address it or whatever? I know I'm going to have to address it, you know, point blank. But now with those two words, she said, I'm going to manage it or I'm going to fix it. It's just one of the two. And so now with that game plan for a lot of us, you know, we were taking sweet stuff under the rug or, you know, hope that it would never come back. It's going to come back some kind of way. Either it's going to come back through a trigger, through a smell, a song, a favorite restaurant, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And if it does, can you manage it or can you fix it? And if no one gets nothing out of that, that's the two most powerful words in this conversation. Part of the conversation we have. Those two things right there, we got to be able to manage it or we got to fix it.
Wow. That's really powerful because I find that with certain things in our life, honestly, that's kind of the key to life, right? Can you manage it or can you fix it? There are some things that you can permanently fix. You can go through, you can understand the source, you can dig deep, you can do all of those things, and then you can fix it. There's all the other things that, you know what, I just need to manage this. I need to be aware of it when it's happening. I love the word that you use, trigger. I need to understand when I'm being triggered, and I need to then be able to go into management of it so that it doesn't become out of control. And it becomes maybe just a spark that I can pull it back and deal with it in a way that doesn't destroy my relationships. You know, I am a big believer, and you have to really be careful with what comes out of your mouth, because when it comes out, you can't pull it back, right? Exactly. You can't pretend those words were said. You can say, "Oh, baby, I'm sorry, and I didn't really mean that." But I am a big believer. If it comes out of your mouth, now I'm looking at you with I'm looking at the side eye like Roz be giving me sometime, right? Now I'm looking at you with the side eye. I'm like, okay, so do you really feel this? Do you believe it? Or either you just have such a lack of control that you just say things to, are you trying to make me angry? Are you trying to hurt me? So I think in relationships, and I think this is an important part of building a solid relationship, where are the boundaries? Right? How do you set that up to be successful? Very early in my marriage, we decided we weren't going to do that. We're not calling people names. We're not just saying whatever just because we're angry. We're not doing that. If you're angry, walk away. Have a glass of wine, have a cocktail, do whatever you need to do to get it under control, and then come back and talk to me when you feel like you want to have another type of conversation. But those boundaries, what are the boundaries that we should be thinking about as we form our relationships and look for building very healthy relationship? And Altavis is out there and says, very true, boundaries are necessary. Absolutely, because without them, where are you? Anything's game. Then anytime you don't know what's over the line because you haven't established a line. And then you're always feeling bad about what's happening. But you know what? We've been doing this the whole time, and this is just how we do. No. We're not doing any of that. I'm going to be real clear about what the boundaries are. So ladies, what do you think about that whole thing of setting some boundaries? And Roz, let me just come back to you first. Do you think that's important?
Yeah, that's important because I don't want to be a booty call.
Yeah. Roz, I don't want you to be a booty call either.
You gotta set boundaries. I'm sorry if I'm going over the top today, but I know other people are thinking about this. I don't want to be a virtual booty call online, and I don't want to be a booty call in the physical. So I set my boundaries and my expectations up front to let you know this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna happen. Just like one thing that I'm constant about in a relationship, I don't open the doors to buildings. That's my pet. I don't open the door to the building. I don't open the door to the car. Now, if it's pouring down rain, that's something different. We're trying to get in the car. If I'm with a man, I stand right there.
Oh my goodness. I love it. That is so cool. But you know what? she's clear about where her boundaries are, right? She has
Yeah.
said that this is important to me. I need a man that is going to be a little bit old school for me. He needs to take care of me and show, that he's willing to do that for me. So you don't open doors and to buildings or to cars.
Yes, it's called PDA, public display of affection. I like a little bit of that. And that's one way for me. I think it's kind of old school romantic when a man opens a door for a woman. I mean, to me, that's just hot. That's sexy. That's me. That's me.
If there's any guys out there watching, if there's any guys out there watching, I would love a response to that. What do you think about that? Is that okay in today's age? Are you okay with the woman saying, hey, here are my boundaries. I want the door to be open. Now, Maria is out there and she commented, she said she's right, teaching how she wants to be treated. Absolutely. And Altivice says exactly. So you got some agreement out there, Roz, for setting these boundaries clear. And honestly, I honestly think we could do a whole nother show on the whole booty call.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a whole different show. Because that goes a little bit more to, are you looking to be completed? Are you looking to have someone just say, yes, she does what I want, or she meets all my needs? Or are you looking to build something special? Are you looking to set your foundation, or are you going to build it on sand? And a lot of times that physical attraction, it'll spark the fire fast, but guess what? There's no gas being poured on it and it fizzles out. So once that's over, then what's left if you haven't built anything else? So really great. And David's out there. So David's in agreement too. David says, yes, yes. David, I'm not sure which part you're saying yes to, because we're all over the place right now. And so, but it is really true that you've got to set boundaries. So Maria, let's come to you, and then Tracy, I'll come to you on, this conversation about in a relationship, whether it's new, you're dating, or you're married. What do you think about setting those boundaries? Maria?
Okay. I think you have, and that's what I was saying, is that you have to reassess all the time, set goals and know where you're going, because otherwise you're at the mercy of anything and you can't complain after that if you've not participated to give direction to the relationship. And I think that's where a lot of women are actually falling short, because we just go into it, okay, that's fine, he's going to take care of me, I don't have to do anything. And then when things are not going really well, they're like, oh, okay, he's a bad man. But why were you silent? Why don't you talk and tell your husband or your partner, this is what I want, and if I get into a relationship with you, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to go, these are the limits, this is what I can accept, and do it all along, through your relationship, because sometimes somebody forgets, so you have to bring them back to the right, to the right corner, and tell them this is what we agree, this is what we were supposed to do, this is where we are going. Let's refocus and go where we decided to go. Well, and do it constantly, because we forget, even me or we forget. So you have to to react really quickly before things start to go, to another level.
Well, and I want to, so the audience out there, we've got some really great comments out there. So Sherry's out there. Hi, Sherry from South Carolina. She says, hi, ladies. And then we've got Maria out there who says, we don't need to be completed. We each have come with our own being and create something new. Maria, I think that's the key, right? Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a relationship to be completed, then I think it's a little dangerous, right? You're going down the road that you're not, you may not get. Now, David responded back, and when I said I didn't know which one he was saying yes to, David said it's a book, Dating with Boundaries. So if it's not a book out there, maybe we need to write it, lady.
No, it is. There is a book called Dating with Boundaries by a psychologist named, and I follow him, Chapman, I believe. It's Henry Chapman or something, I believe. But yes, there is a book called Dating with Boundaries. Yeah.
Awesome. So,
really
so David has read that book. Okay, David.
Cloud.
So I guess you understand all the boundaries, David, out there. Stephanie's out there. Stephanie says, so I've been married 28 years and I agree with everything being said. And to be transparent, when my husband and I met, we waited 90 days because I refused to be in BC and booty call. Yes, none of that. So Maria says, great topic. Dating, one definition to obtain data. Gotta get on health call. Oh, he'll be back for part 2. Okay, he's got to jump off for another call. He said he'll be back for part 2. So Maria says we're on point. And then the final comment is from Stephanie, who says, and then I moved in with him. So after that, so it's Stephanie, you found a roadmap that worked for you and your partner, but I'm sure that had a lot to do with talking about what those boundaries would be, being clear on sort of what the end game is, what you're hoping to accomplish, what's happening through this portion where you're taking the time to get to know each other and really feel each other out and all of those things. So thank you so much for commenting. Don't forget, you're watching the Coffee with Rhonda show, where we're having a great conversation on really romance, dating, how do you balance that with having a successful and busy career? And I want to start to wrap up a little bit. And don't forget to share the video. If you have found any value in this video, if you've enjoyed it, others might enjoy it as well. So we want to ask you to share it. So as we get ready to move to our closing portion, I'm going to just go around and just ask you ladies to share sort of one piece, one takeaway, or one suggestion you might have out there. I know a ton of women who are entrepreneurs and single, right? Who are high-powered executives and single, who are busy career building women and single. And there's somehow, I feel like this little thing out there that you can't have it both. You can't have both really well. So my thought out there, and as I bring sort of into a close, I'm thinking you can have a successful, fulfilling career and a wonderful and amazing relationship. You can have both. There's no reason why you can't. However, the only way for you to have both is for you to be able to look within and to be able to recognize and understand who you are, what you value, and what you want. Because if you are spending 18 hours a day on your work, and you think that only an hour or two of time investment in your relationship is going to help you have this beautiful, robust relationship, I'm here to tell you that it may not quite work out that way for you. So you can do, obviously, you are free to do whatever your heart's desire, but you can have both. But you have got to show a level of interest and investment and commitment to both. Sherry says, yes, type A all the way. I get it, Sherry, but don't forget to invest the time in the other part of you. So that's sort of my closing segment. Let's do a round table as we wrap up to close. Anything that you want to take away? Tracy, I'm going to save you for last because I know that you also have an offer out there that you wanted to share. I think it was the $100 also. I want you to mention that also as you do your close. So Roz, let's start with you. What's your closing comments about this whole dating thing and sort of where you would recommend or any thoughts of or words of advice?
For those who are going into a relationship, understand your identity, understand who you are. Because when you go into the relationship, you want to keep your identity. You don't want to lose it. And sometimes we give up, we sacrifice so much to please the other person, and then we're not happy. So you have to recognize that, yes, there's going to be some give and take, but you shouldn't lose who you are in that relationship. And also, too, boundaries in dating. The book is by Dr. Henry Cloud and John Townsend.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for pulling that up. So boundaries in dating, if you're out there, that might be a good book for you to check out. And so Sherry says, one guy told me he was afraid I could kick his blank since I'm an Air Force veteran. He's like, really? Thanks. You know what? He's dealing with his own insecurity, Sherry, and that has nothing to do with you. So you go do what you do, but make time for that special person because they are going to expect time from you, just like you expect time from them. So Mariah, let's come to you for your closing thoughts.
My closing thought is that it all starts with us, to know who we are and have this self-confidence going into our relationship, and understand that it requires, when you go into a relationship, it requires a lot of investment. Like you said, you have to dedicate time to grow your relationship, and you have to make sure that you are setting goals with your partners to know where you're going, and have a proper I don't know, work on your communication, and make sure that the communication is really fluent and fluid into the relationship, because it's a dynamic relationship. You are going to change through the process, and it's important that you continue to communicate and work on where you're going, and make sure that you're speaking the same language in your relationship, and understand that, like I said, you can have it all, but it means that you need to be really well organized and dedicate the right amount of time to make sure that your relationship grows well and thrive at the end.
Absolutely. We like to use the term work-life balance, which I'm not actually a big fan of. It's just life, people. It's all life. So it's really life balance, and it's really looking at your buckets and your calendar. And, if the only thing on your calendar is work, and there's not a dating night, or there's not some time to have some fun, then you're setting your priorities, whether you're doing that consciously or not. And so for me, as I make space, I need to become aware that I have filled up all this space and time, but I definitely will clear some up when that right person comes along. So Stephanie just joined us. Oh, well, Maria says, we all need to stop foolishness and dating. Hashtag just saying. Yes, we do need to stop foolishness, and we need to stop fooling ourselves in dating as well, Maria. And then Stephanie's out there. Stephanie says, good morning. Good morning, Steph. Thanks for joining us. So as we're wrapping up now, remember, comment, share the video. We appreciate your input, your feedback. And we're going to come to our special guest now, Tracy, to sort of wrap us up with her thoughts on, I love that you're a dating strategist, because we bring strategy to business. We bring strategy to our finances. We bring strategy to other things. What we often don't bring strategy to is dating. We just go for it and hope it works out well. So your final thoughts for us, Tracy.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. And I wanted to back up a little bit, because I had written a note about the boundaries. And I believe two important key boundaries to have is a way of fighting fair with conflict resolution. Even with the quote unquote Mr. Wonderful, Ms. Wonderful, whatever, it's going to come up. A conflict is going to come up. So a boundary to focus on is definitely to fight fair. What are our boundaries in that, like you mentioned earlier, Rhonda? But also, I think a tool, and this is just an example of a tool to maybe help you and your partner understand each other better, is something like the love languages quiz that's out there. You can look that up, 5 love languages. So many couples that I've talked to, that has been a bedrock in their relationship, on actually seeing their partner as not someone to compete with, or not someone that they have to break down. It gives them some insight to the person, that how did they take this quiz, come up with this answer, and this is a description of who they are. Wow. Okay, they're not just trying to fight me. They're not just trying to annoy me. They're not just, whatever. So find resources. If you don't get with a therapist or counselor, or, someone, find resources to help you set healthy boundaries within your relationship. And then finally, just in my closing thought, before, like she said earlier, the young lady in the chat, we have a lot of folly that we go into relationships with, especially we've not been dating for a while. And so I encourage everyone to do things before you join the next dating site, before you go out on that next date. Stop the Russian roulette with dating, and take a moment, press pause, and say, hey, I need to know what I'm bringing to the table. Because a lot of times when we take that inventory, we're talking about the career we have, the money we make, the experiences, the places we've traveled, and blah, blah, blah. That's not as important as it is. And I know a lot of the stats say, finances are the number one reason marriages break up. I beg to differ. I think the lack of communication, the lack of self-awareness that it comes through with the finances, because the finances are so visible. Because there are people who are poor and people who struggle with money who still make it, have long-lasting, happy marriages. So I just say, while you're in this stage as a single person, be sure to do the work necessary to figure out how you're showing up emotionally, where you are on your vulnerability, et cetera, et cetera. And so, as you mentioned, Rhonda, I do have an offer. I am, as I said, a dating strategist. I use the word strategy rather than coach because I do kind of the work of a consultant. I come into your dating world and shake things up and see what you're doing, what you've been doing, and then I take it all. And then I come back with you and we have several sessions where we start picking out, okay, this is where we're going to move this way. It is not a game playing. We're not playing games. I'm not the type of person, well, girl, make sure you wear this mini skirt or make sure you do your hair this way. I heard guys. No. We're talking about more of the internal, strategizing with the internal, how we're going to date. So with that, if you go to my site, tracyready.com/early birds, my programs are all being revamped in this time of quarantine. And I'm putting a majority of my programs online. Well, all online, actually. And so I have an offer for the month of April. Everything will launch on May 1st. But for the month of April, if you signed up at tracyready.com/earlybirds, pick out the program that's best for you. You'll receive either a $100 discount on my Soul Detox program or a $500 discount on my Dating Masterclass program. And the difference in the two is one is self-directed, one is working directly with me, and another one is self-directed with group coaching monthly. So, so you just take advantage of those offers. You'll see testimonials there. You'll see more information where you can link to read more about me. I'm hoping to work with you guys and help you get ready to get to the point where dating is not a chore. It's not something you don't think is unreachable, because it very much is, and it should be fun and enjoyable, not a hassle.
I love it. I love it. I want to really thank you for being here and just contributing to this important conversation. As business women and entrepreneurs, we talk a lot about sort of that professional role and professional life. And really, Coffee with Rhonda is to dive into some of those, but it's also to bring our humanity forward, to bring our, the other aspects of life that are still happening all around us, whether it be family, communication, whatever that is. So this has been a really a conversation for me that has been very stimulating and valuable. And I have some my own things that I need to think about a little bit. I need to maybe think about that, space clearing. I maybe need to schedule time to go to Jacksonville and go to Roz's storage with her, so that we can go open that storage up together. Yes, we are in this together, Roz. I'm here for you, girlfriend. So I just want to say to everyone out there, so we need to do one more thing, lady. Everybody's got to hold up their coffee cup so I can get a post-production shot. Hold up your cup. A little higher. There we go. A big smile.
Hello.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining the Coffee with Rhonda show. It's been super exciting for all of you out there that commented. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and you just help us. You add so much to the show. We're going to be right back here next week. One more little thing. If you're out there and you're a busy professional, a leader, an entrepreneur, and you want to be on the show, you can PM any of our hosts to apply. And I want you to remember, between now and our next show, remember to always use intention, to be conscious, and to always be grateful for what's in your cup. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next week, same time, same station, on Coffee with Rhonda. Bye, guys.
Bye.